Hey everybody, welcome back. It's your boy Big James. It's going to be another review of Married at First Sight, season 13. It's going to be episode 2. Title of the episode is Houston, We Have a Marriage. Um, this episode was 2 hours long. Again, I don't know why. I'm not going to cover everything that happened. I'm just going to cover who got married and anything significant. Because, like, the people who didn't even get married, they didn't do anything but pick out dresses and suits, and they'll do that next episode anyway, so there's no real reason to even go into it. This episode was actually pretty good, which is something we don't say that often, but it was informative, and it was also, it really let you know the experts interject a lot to tell you what they're thinking and why they did what they did. I think that's to cover their asses, because they made a bad matching. And they keep jumping in to say, well, we did it because of this, we did it because of this. You shouldn't have done it. I think last season with Chris and how bad that match was, they feel a reason now to kind of justify pairings. And if you watch the episode, you know exactly what I'm talking about. They tried to justify, they tried to cut in, well, we did it because of this. Well, you know, and anybody looking at it like, this shit ain't gonna work at all. We'll get to that later. Let's start out with I think it starts out with Michaela and Zach. Michaela, their friends wake her up. She's like, well, tomorrow I'm gonna go to bed married tonight. It was just cheesy TV shit. Honestly, there was a lot of cheesy TV shit. This probably won't be that long review because it was a lot of cheesy TV shit. I'm just gonna skip over. You know, her friends talked to her again about her stubbornness. You know, they call her Hurricane K. And she admitted that, yeah, I'm stubborn. Like, you know, she will explode on, this came out of her mouth. She will explode on people, go really, really far, take it to an extreme level, and then later be like, I'm sorry, I shouldn't have said all that. I shouldn't have did that. You know, it's just like a storm. And her family says it, her friend, like everybody that knows her says she does this. She says, yep, I do that. I will blow up. I will go out. I will call you everything but a child of God. I will talk bad about you, put you down. And then later on, I realized like I was wrong. And then I come back and apologize. And they were all laughing because they're used to it. I'm like, how many dudes gonna put up with that? Like how many, like a guy can put up with that from a distance? Like she had fuck buddies. Yeah, if we just hooking up casually, I can deal with that. Who cares? But I'm not finna be married to that. I'm in a relationship with somebody that does stuff like that. You just explode randomly because you didn't get your way, and then want to apologize later. That gets old. That's maybe okay for that gets old. That gets old, man. That gets old fast. So I don't know about that. And she thinks it's cute, like it's okay. A guy's got to be willing to deal with that. Who's going to be willing to deal with that? And I know Michaela is like the darling of the internet. Like all the Facebook groups and the YouTube channels, they all love her, love her, love her. I see big problems with that couple because of her. Because her attitude swings so high and just poppy, cheery. When it swings back the other way, it's going to be bad. And then I don't think Zach is the kind of guy that's for that. Zach's friend wake him up, you know, he's ready to be married, and he's crying. He cried more this episode than I think I've ever seen any of the guys cry. I've never seen any of the women cry as much as he did. He cried because he's nervous. He's worried, like, am I going to be what she wants? Can I be the man she needs me to be? Like, it is a big concern of his to be a good husband and to be what his wife wants. And he worries a lot about that. And she doesn't. She doesn't give a fuck. She is like, I'm just gonna be me, and if it's what he wants, it's what he wants. If it ain't fucking. Those two attitudes they're not gonna work together well. It seems so, like, it looks adorable. It looks cute as hell when you're looking at it, but when you start thinking about it, you're like, this is going to be an issue because he is so caring and so devoted and dedicated, and she is so nonchalant, whatever. She just bouncing, going, and like it's adorable. It really is. But you're like, that's gonna be an issue. Like I think past the wedding day, past the hunt, they're gonna have clashes. Whereas he's gonna be really into something, and she's gonna be like, I don't care. And then she's gonna want him to also not care. And if he doesn't not care, it's gonna be a problem. I may be on an island, the only person thinking that, because it seems like so many people love them. I just don't. I see Michaela as like she can be very problematic, especially for somebody like Zach. Yeah, he is just really concerned about living up to her expectations, and even though he doesn't know what they are, I don't think he can, because in this episode she was talking about how her dad protected her, adopted her, took care of her, and all that. And she wants a man like that. No, you want a husband. You don't want another dad. He can't come into this being your dad. He has to be your husband. And she doesn't know what she wants from that. What she wants from a husband is to be treated like that's her dad. And she's not going to like that, and he definitely ain't going to like that. I might be the only person that's seeing this, but I'm like, they look beautiful. They look so beautiful together. They look like the wedding was amazing. You can tell he really likes her. She likes him. She thinks he's handsome. He thinks she's beautiful. But I'm thinking that once that all goes away, ooh, they're going to have some problems. And she was talking with her sister and her mom said, something old, something new, something something blue, whatever it was. And she gave her a box, and inside the box, I was stunned, because I was like, she opened the box, and I was like, is that a Star Trek Excelsior class starship? Like I'm like, that's an Excelsior, because I'm a Star Trek nerd, so I knew right off the bat what that was. And she starts crying because that was her dad. She said her dad was a big tracky guy, and she's like, well, we're all now one because of him. That popped me, because I was like, oh my god, that's a Star Trek. It was like a model of an Excelsior class starship, a heavy cruiser, for those who are curious. And she starts crying. It's the most she's been emotional the whole thing. She only gets emotional talking about her dad. The wedding is just she's so nonchalant about it. She's like, even when I'm gonna skip ahead. Zach goes down to the altar. I don't know why I lost that word. And he's nervous. He's standing there. He's just like, oh my god. Her people see him, and he's ready to go. And Michaela comes out, and she's like, oh, he's so handsome. Like she's attracted to him off the bat, physically attracted to him right off the bat. And he is to her. They're talking, and like the preacher is trying to do the service, and they're just talking back and forth, and she's flirting with him. He's kind of off put, but he's responding, but it's not his preferred thing to do right now. You can tell he's not really into it, but he's doing it. So he can answer her when she does stuff like that. He can come back, but he doesn't really want to do it right now, because they're literally standing in front of the entire church for the wedding congregation, and she is just flirting, talking. They can't do the ceremony because she keeps interrupting. She's like, oh, you're so handsome, oh, listen, like that. And then he says, and like, it's a woman. She said, like, Zach. She's like, Zach, your name is Zach? Is that short for Zachary? Like, she's just talking, and it got to be nerves or just don't give a fuck. It's one of those, because she just keeps in everything the woman says, she interrupts, and he has to answer her in order to get back to what they're doing, because they have plenty of time to talk after we get done this ceremony. But there's so much energy and smile. She's so happy and bubbly and bouncy, and you can see he just smile. When he saw her, he just lit up. He was so happy that she was so beautiful. And it was just like, it was just like sweet to look at. It was so adorable. It was just wonderful. It just made you feel good inside to see these two people who instantly saw each other and instantly was like really into each other. And she's always talking about, like, you want a Zach Jr.? It was just it was just crazy how big they hit it off. But I think that their personality and lifestyle is going to be what the issue is. And they exchange vows, and his vows are beautiful, her vows are sweet. He like, they say, you not kiss the bride. He like, well, can I kiss you? She was like, yeah, and they kissed for a long time. Like, there wasn't no peck on the cheek. And after you start seeing stuff, a clash right after this. Because he's after when they're done, they're just talking after the ceremony. And he was asking her, like, who are you? Like, what about you? And then they're guessing. She's guessing his age because she's older. She's 30. He's 27. She thought he was 35. I don't know why. He looks young, but she thought he was 35. And she was like, well, I guess I'm a cougar. No, I was 32. She thought he was older than her. I think it was 35, but she said, your friend said you were a Renaissance man. What does that mean? And he was like, my dad wanted me to know a lot of stuff. So, he taught me how to croquet, how to make homemade lotion. And she was looking like, what? Because in her head, that's not something a man really does. She was thinking he was going to say like fishing or fix transmissions and shit like that. How to do roofs. But he was like, no, taught me how to croquet and make lotion and body rubs. And she's like, shit. But he's like, that was, and he could tell that threw her off because that wasn't what she was wanted. She wanted somebody like her dad. And her dad, I guess, wasn't making homemade lotion in the bathtub. And he said, well, that's just something I do. I don't do it in a long time, but, I also do computer programming, software engineering. And she was like, okay, because I don't think she was looking for that. I think she was looking for something like, my dad does this. I want a man like my dad. He's doing stuff that's nothing like what my dad did or was into. That's kind of weird, but okay. They were just, like, the wedding was so cute, but then after the wedding, you could see where there was, like, a little awkwardness. Because they don't know each other. They're trying to learn stuff for the first time. And you don't know how somebody's going to react to that. And then they're taking the wedding photos, and they kept kissing. They were kissing. They were kissing a lot for the wedding photos. They were very comfortable with each other. Like, she wasn't really stiff. She was really into him, and he would lean into her. She was just grabbing on him. She was rubbing on him. He was like, "What's going on?" She was like, "Well, I'm trying to see what you're working with." She was very into him, and she was very outgoing, and he was a lot more reserved. That might be an issue. It might not be. I don't know. But the wedding went great. She looked good. He looked good. I really have concerns about the way they live their life and the way they are. I think her being outgoing and him being conservative is a good match. I think that's great because they balance it. They can, like, that's a good balance. Like, you're really outgoing, I'm really conservative, but we work well because they do work. They, like, their conversations bounce off each other very well. But I think that what she's looking for and what he is not going to match. I think he is crying because he wants to live to her expectations, and I don't think he can. And I think if he can't, she's not going to stick around. Both of them have the mindset of, I'm out. If he doesn't feel it, he leaves, and she's like, I'm not feeling it, and I leave. They both have the mindset of, fuck this, I'm out. And so I think that's going to be the thing. They can work, but both of their willingness to just leave relationships is going to be the problem. And then her saying, I'm not going to compromise. And him saying, I want to do everything. He's saying that he wants to make her happy. He can't be somebody, no matter how much he's willing to work on it or compromise, he can't be somebody else. So there's no way. And he's smart enough to realize that. So I don't think there's a chance in hell they're going to make it. I really don't. Unless it's just all physical. Unless how much they like fucking each other just overrides everything else. Because she wants it now. And he will give it to her now. So they're going to have sex early. Like it's not even a doubt. Just going off by her, she's like she wants to have sex, and wants to oblige her. But I think unless that is just amazing, they're not gonna make it. We're gonna go about Bow and Johnny. They had their wedding last episode. This episode, they had the tea ceremony, and it was so weird because even the Pastor Cal was like, both of them had planned a tea ceremony after the wedding without even knowing who their spouse was. They both knew they were going to do this. And not only did they both know it, they had matching everything. Like he had his stuff out and she had her stuff out, and it all matched. The entire ceremony went off without a hitch, beautifully, because they each separately planned the exact same thing. The exact color scheme. She said her color scheme was, for hers, was red and gold. He said mine was wine and gold. That's the same thing. It's just he's a darker red, but it looked like they planned it together when you looked at it. And he was like, "No, fuck my daddy. He ain't here. I would like him to be here, but whatever." Shit. And he was like, it's Bow anyway. And Bow was like, that's Johnny. He was head of Vietnamese students at UT, and I was head of Vietnamese student relations at University of Houston. Like University, we worked together, went to the same stuff. We never dated or anything. It's been 15 years, but that's John. Like she's like, I know him, and Johnny was like, that's Bow. I know her, but I don't know her because we were never together. We never dated. We never had any relationship outside of like a working relationship. So I know her, I understand her, but I don't know her. And Johnny's smooth, man, because they had the couple's first dance, and Bow was like, I don't know what to do. And Johnny was like, oh, you got to put your hand right here and do this. Like, Johnny's got that player in him. He's smooth, and Bow knows it, and she likes it because she's real awkward and stiff. And Johnny's a lot more smooth. He works out. She said, I know Johnny. He works out. He exercises. He stays in good shape. She's like, and I'm attracted to him. I really like him. And she's like, I know he likes me because why wouldn't you like me? She got a lot of confidence. And she deserves it. She earned it. Shit. And Johnny does too. And I think I give them the best shot because they match on so many levels in so many ways. The only issue could possibly be that they both like things a certain way. Now, if that certain way matches, they're perfect. If it doesn't, it clashes. I don't know how well they could compromise, but they're both so smart and so intelligent that they could easily. But you never know. Like I don't think it'll be an issue. Because they're the same way, except he likes it this way and she likes it this way. But they don't know yet if those ways are the same ways or different ways. But they probably are. They got everything else exactly the same. So it could be that they're the exact same way. We just have to see, but they're my best shot at making it. The next couple is Merla and Gil. This is a bad matching. They're not going to make it past the damn reception. I don't think. They don't have a... Making it past the honeymoon would be a fucking miracle. The experts made a big mistake with these two. Because what they thought was shallow or unimportant or would balance out, it's not. It's not going to balance. It's going to be a clash. It's going to be a conflict. It's going to be a fight. It's going to be bad. Because one is not shallow to her, and it's not shallow to him. When he's buying his suit, the one thing he says is he doesn't want a materialistic woman. And the one thing when she's buying her dress, she says that she's materialistic, and she's not going to change. And he was like, I can deal with a lot. And this is not them talking. This is them separate. He is with his boys, she's with her girls. And everything she's saying she is and that she doesn't want is everything she's saying she is everything he's saying he doesn't want. And everything he's saying she is everything she's saying she doesn't want. There's no way. She's like, I'm materialistic. I don't want a materialistic woman. I want to take trips and travel around the world. He's like, I'm good with going places, but not everywhere and not all the time. I don't want to change my life. I want a woman that's willing to adapt and work through stuff. There's no way. It's not a chance in hell. Not a chance in hell. I don't know, and that's when the experts kept interrupting and cutting in, saying, well, we did this, we put them together because we figured that this is like, you fucked up. You thought that, that's not a big deal, or they can work through this, and they can't. And they're not going to. Even the wedding was bad. The wedding was bad. It was the wedding because she was talking to her friend. They were like, what if he got a bald head? Oh, I can't be with a guy. Like, it wasn't like she was just saying it as a joke. She was dead ass serious. He can't have a bald head. Gil bald and a motherfucker. Smooth, slick bald. Not this rough shit I got. His shit smooth. Like he waxed that bitch. And she was like, I just can't. Like, everything she said she didn't want, he is. He is a firefighter. He works 24-hour shifts. He's not home pampering her. He's not taking her to spa. He's not doing any of this shit she wants. And he wants a wife that's going to cook for him, rub his feet, beat up for him. She's like, I'm going to a spa to pay someone to rub my feet. I'm going to pay someone to clean my house. I'm going to buy food. I'm not cooking. All the stuff he wants, she's not. He was like, they like, you gonna kiss her when they say you kiss your bride? He was like, of course. That's my wife. I'm gonna kiss my wife. And she was like, no, I'm not kissing him. They were clashing on every single thing. Everything was a clash. Nothing they agreed. There was nothing that was even nothing had wiggle room or anything. Experts keep jumping in. Well, we were doing this and we were doing this and we were trying to do this and we figured this would work out. None of that shit worked out. He's standing at the altar and she comes out the aisle. The first thing she stops is she like, he got a bald head. She is pissed and done right there. It was like, she went down the aisle. She saw him because he does look good. He's a handsome guy. And she's a nice looking lady. She's an attractive woman. But when she was talking about the guy she wanted, like a Travis Kelce and Odell Beckham, I'm like, okay, Merle, you look good, but you ain't finna get no ball players out here. You talking about $100 million people. I'm like, first of all, you overestimate yourself and Married at First Sight. They not getting no pro star athletes to come here to marry you. You are crazy. You smoking that shit. 2, love the confidence, but you ain't that goddamn fine. If these women gonna leave all these plastic Hollywood people to go be with you, that's not being insulting, that's being realistic, Merla. You're a beautiful, lovely woman, but they not checking for you. And if you had it like that, you wouldn't be on Married at First Sight. Moving on. I know that's probably controversial, but Gil's a good looking dude. And they exchange vows, and she's just kind of half in, half out because the bald head, and she said it's gonna bother her, it's bothering her. But she does like that he's handsome. He's very attractive. He's in good shape. She likes that. Does not like he has a dog. He has a pit bull. I think it was like a pit bull or something. Nope. She was just like this. Like this is happening during the vows. She is pissed that he's bald, and she's pissed that he's got a dog. They go through with it anyway, and he can see that. Oh, she don't like that. Oh, she got a problem. Something's going on. Every like the people in the goddamn pews are like, something's wrong here, because her energy is like, I don't like this. I don't want to do this. This ain't what I asked for. So everybody in the crowd is just like cringing because they can feel it coming off of her. This ain't gonna work, and he is standing there like, "Ooh, something's wrong. What am I ugly or something?" Like he's like, everything you are, she don't want, man. She's gonna cook for him and all this gluten-free muffins and all this. That man was like, sure, you know. You couldn't get past the bad energy, the bad vibe that was going on. You just couldn't get past it. And then they do the controversial part. You may not kiss your bride. He goes in for the kiss. She swerves. Give him the cheek. Didn't just give him the cheek. Gave him the cheek in the veil. He had to. Oh my goodness. She didn't like. And you could tell it pissed him off. But he went with it because, you know, she's not comfortable. It's obvious she's not comfortable. Everybody can see she's not comfortable. She's not happy. She doesn't like this. And it's getting to him. He can be like, you know, it's starting to wear on him. Like, this is the energy at the wedding. Usually the wedding is supposed to be full of, and everybody's happy and smiling. Nobody's happy. Nobody's blushing. Nobody's smiling. And Gil is trying his hardest to raise the energy to make things more positive. And she's got this fake smile that you can see a mile away. It's like, it's just cringy. After the wedding, they're talking. And he's like, are you not a dog person? She was like, well, do they shed? And he was like, it's a fucking dog. Yeah, it sheds, but I clean up after it. And she was like, I guess, like, she doesn't want dogs. She doesn't like dogs. She's like, I come first for the dog. And he tells her, like, you know, I'm Colombian. I was born in Colombia. I've been living here. And she was like, oh, I always wanted to go to Colombia. He was like, well, if you're married to me, you're going to go to Colombia because I go to Colombia all the time. And that was probably the only thing she was happy about was that, you know, he was Colombian and he spoke Spanish. And she was like, oh, you know, he was like, you know, my mother only speaks Spanish. She was like, well, my mother only speaks Spanish. He was like, yeah, I know. I talked to her. And they showed him talking to her mother. And he was talking to her in English. And she was like, okay, whatever. And then he talked to her brother. Her brother was like, well, she only speaks Spanish. He's like, oh, okay. So he talked to her mother in Spanish. That was good. That was the only thing that was good. And in the preview for next week's episode, it looked like they just fall out at the goddamn reception. It was such a bad pairing that I hope they just call it off right there. Because it's obvious it's not going to work. They don't have a chance. There is no chance. What I'm saying, because you saw the episode, y'all watched it. They were opposites on everything. And forget Pastor Cal, it wasn't superficial. It was for real. It was deep rooted in their hearts. I don't want this. And they fucking did it anyway. Merlin and Gil ain't gonna make it. Brett and Ryan, Rachel and Jose, they were just picking out suits and dresses. I was like, they're going to do that next episode anyway, so I'm not going to worry too much about it. Nothing, that was all they did. The only weddings were Michaela and Zach and Merlin and Gil. So I'll cover their weddings, but I'm not going to cover them picking out clothes when they're going to pick out clothes in the next episode anyway. So that's it for me. That was my review. That's what I thought of it. Tell me what you thought. Am I way the fuck off on Michaela and Zach? Because it seems like people think they're going to make it. And I'm like, they're not going to make it. They got a whole lot of quit in them when they come to relationships. And she is already like, she's not gonna, her expectations he can't live up to unless she is just lying about what she wants. I don't think she is. And Merlin gives, I don't think anyone gives them any credit. Michaela and Zach, I could be missing something. There's a lot of physical attraction, but I think that's about as deep as it goes. Those are my thoughts. What's yours? Make sure you like, comment, subscribe. And we gonna figure this out next episode, y'all. Hey, peace.